everyone, my name is Savannah. Welcome back to Mesa Garden Zoo, our Planet Zoo franchise project. And I've done a little bit of work in between episodes as usual. So let me start off by just letting you know what I did. Per everyone's feedback, and I also do agree, I think the wood looks a whole lot better on this railing, so I went ahead and replaced it all around the crane exhibit as well. And I think it just ties in with like our food court area and just the overall theming and feel of the desert park. Because as I mentioned, you know, when I first started this franchise project, this is a lot of congestion and chaos, by the way. We're gonna have to maybe possibly do something about this sooner rather than later, like maybe connect a path over here. Anyway, that's not what I was saying. As I mentioned in the very beginning episode, I really didn't want this to be specifically desert, like everything is cactus and dirt and sand and things like that. I wanted it to be more of like grasslands desert. And I think by bringing in some like warmer colors for the wood and, you know, lots of trees and foliage, the water bill for this zoo has got to be astronomical, but we're going to ignore that. But I'm loving how it's turning out. This is exactly kind of what I had in mind. I am putting off the entrance plaza because I just don't have that inspiration just yet. However, what I do have inspiration for is continuing like our monkey area. So we did this in the last episode. I did make some adjustments on our climbing frame, which I don't think I have shown you yet. Unfortunately, they can't use this upper portion covered in ropes and everything, even though it's the climbable tubing that they can use. Oh, look at him swing! They're so cute. But they can definitely use and sit on all this bamboo, so I just kind of ran this over here, put a couple other platforms, and that way they can utilize this space as well. So they have been doing that since I put that in. I also, now that they can go over here, the keepers needed to be able to go over there, so I did add a little bridge there for the keepers to get across. I have not checked the traversable area for the keepers just yet, but hopefully they can get across there. And then just adding overall more dirt and foliage and plants and doing the background a little bit more. So this exhibit is probably like 80-90% done. We obviously still have to continue this because that is a liability, and then decorating around the back portion of it as well. However, before we get into talking about what I'm going to do in this episode, which you'll already have a hint about because of the title and the thumbnail of this video, we have some names to give out, and you all are so fond of our Red River Hogs. All of the name suggestions that we got on the last video are specifically only for Red River Hogs. So we're going to start off with Thelma here. And was I putting an asterisk in the beginning, I think, right? For all of our, yeah. So that way I know that it's a named pig that we don't want to rename. There's our Izzy. This one right here also needs a name, so asterisk. Gidget was a cute one. I really liked that. And we do have a couple more suggestions, but I don't know how many more Red River Hogs we actually need names for. This one right here can be named. This is a male, so how about Cherry was one of the suggestions as well. There we go. So we have Thelma, Gidget, and Cherry in addition to our little herd here, all munching away. Are they still happy? Not the best. I probably should have checked that before I named them. I think, oh no, now I feel terrible if we're gonna have to rehome some of them or release some of them into the wild that I just named. So Muddy is our alpha male, and he is, let's see, where is his mate? Current mate are Thelma and Izzy, and Gidget and Cherry are their offspring. So let me see, how old are they? He is 9 years old. 9 years old. So they're not that old, but they're getting there. So what I think I might actually do is we might take Gidget. Well, let me look at the stats here. There's Gidget. Thelma is definitely a keeper. Thelma is a keeper for sure. Let's put, I think the exclamation mark was my note for keeping, right? So I think Cherry originally had an exclamation point. Where the heck did Cherry go? Hello? That's Muddy. This is Cherry. Yeah, this is Cherry. And I'm pretty sure Cherry was also the keeper. So let's go ahead and keep both of those. However, I didn't hit enter, so that didn't save. Where the heck did you go, Cherry? There we go. And we'll just put them in the trade center for now until parents get too old. So there's trade center for Cherry and trade center for Thelma. Now, those two are related, so later on we're going to have to make some hard decisions. But for now, we just have Muddy, Izzy, and Gidget. Oh, and wait, hold on. Was Thelma was his mate, right? I think I just put the wrong one. Yeah, Thelma was the one that was meant to stay in the exhibit, and Gidget was the little one that needed to go into the trading center. So, where the heck did Thelma go? Probably all the way down at the bottom. Look at all these animals that we have from previous franchise projects. There's Thelma. Let's send Thelma back to the zoo because Thelma and Izzy can definitely have more children while we are waiting for these guys to get too old. Let's double check really quickly because I still am trying very hard to find different color Lar Gibbons and I'm striking out. I cannot find anybody but blonde and white furred Lar Gibbons, or beige, I guess. Hopefully we get one very, very soon. But there is our naming. We also had some babies born in here running around, but I'm pretty sure these guys are all very happy. They have tons of space. Need a little more enrichment, so toy enrichment and food enrichment for these guys. Do I have anybody researching these? Vet research, let's see. We have Red River Hog research, which is always good. Let's stop. Uh-oh, we have a protester. That means let's pause while I'm looking at other things. Let's put you onto the Lar Gibbons for the time being, since we're almost done with Red River Hogs. I want some more Lar Gibbon enrichment, and that would also go for the Siamings as well. Let me look and see what we have up here. We have $2,000 and $1,000 for conservation stuff. That's fantastic. This is many guests think tickets are underpriced. Again? All right, well, let's raise it to 20, I guess. We'll just keep raking on in that money there. We can get rid of that now, hopefully. And let's see, we still need a quarantine, but I refuse. Where the heck are the protesters? Let's double check. Oh, shocker. It's for the flamingos. Why are you all so stressy? It's probably because of this, huh? So I wonder if we add, I don't know if the guests will necessarily have an interest in walking over this way, but we can always try. I don't want the curb on the ground path. We can always try for now. It was always my intention to kind of do an exit area over here, so that might just be the preliminary start of that. But I wonder if we give the guests an option to go this way. I wonder if they will. None of them really look like they want to right now, but it's probably an issue because they keep stopping right here, and these guys are stressed and they just need to go back here and get unstressed. I don't really have like a good option for flamingos. They always drive me insane. And if we need to end up moving them, I'm just like manually moving them back to see if it makes any difference if they're back here versus up front, if they get any less stressed while they're back here. So it does start to go back up if they just stay out of the water. So maybe we like scoot the barrier a little forward so they can't quite get over there. Let's see. Because their space is it's literally everything but the stress that's causing them issues. I'm sorry, nothing but the stress causing them issues. Okay, they're all happy. You can go away now. You don't have to be protesty. You can leave. Thank you very much. Can I move protesters? I forget if I can actually move them. I don't know if I can. No, I can't. Dang it. That would be that would be such a way to game the system, but I cannot move them. Why, if you're stressed, do you run directly towards the people? I don't get it. Hey, this one little guy is using my path. There we go. All right. And they're all gathering over here. Okay, so they're dispersing a little bit. As the zoo grows, I think guests will disperse as well. So the last thing that I want to look at before we actually jump into our time lapse is you all reminded me that training is a thing. And I'm going to go ahead and splurge and basically train everyone because I want at least everyone to be to the 2nd star level. And then from there, I think we'll decide who gets to go higher than that. But with these high workloads, you all reminded me that training really helps. And if people know how to do their jobs, they'll be less stressed and have a lower workload and things like that, you know? So there we go. That is perfect. Now for today, I want to jump in and I'm actually feeling like a primate area going off in this way. And so I have a beautiful reference photo for a building, and I want the building entrance to be about here with an outside portion of an exhibit here for orangutans, because those are the monkeys that you all voted for and won. So inside a building, maybe we'll do like little capuchins, or it'll just be like a short little walk-through area, maybe not a full interior, and the interior is only for the monkeys. I'm not entirely sure yet. I just have a really good reference picture for the exterior of a building, and that way we have a little bit more architecture and structure rather than just like open-faced habitats, right? Open-faced enclosures all over the place. So I think that's what I want to get into now. That way the episode doesn't end up being forever long, because I do not know how long it's going to take me to build this building. So I think let's jump into it. And as always, before we jump into that time lapse, I will be hanging out with you the entire time. So stick around, leave a like on the video, and definitely hit that subscribe button. It all helps me out and I greatly do appreciate it. And don't forget to leave name suggestions. We need monkey name suggestions. And we still need flamingo and crane name suggestions. So leave those down in the comments right now, and that way you lock those in and I can get to them the next episode. But for now, let's go ahead and get started on our time lapse. So I ended up going pretty detailed with this. I'm starting by making this little kind of archway that guests are gonna walk through. And because I'm not so good at circular symmetry in the game, this did take me a couple trials and errors just to make it look like it's connected and that it was actually a structure that could stand. Making the like horizontal, or when we flip it, the horizontal beams was the easy part. It was making those little cross-section beams line up that was the difficult part. So I'm using the mud pieces. That circular mud piece in the center of the grid is really what helps make this perfectly symmetrical. And in the end, I get there and I'm pretty happy with how it turns out. We kind of sink it into the ground, and maybe I do need to go back. If I don't already, do I go back and delete some that are under the ground? If I don't, I should, because that will really help with piece count and things. Those ones that are way under the ground, I really don't need to be there. So hopefully I remembered to do that, but I have not seen myself do that just yet. So likely is that I forgot. But that's going to be the area that the guests walk under to get into this building. Originally, my thought was to have this building just be the orangutan building, as I mentioned in the first part of this episode, just to add a little bit more architecture and a little bit more structure to the zoo instead of everything being just a fenced-in portion of land, right? We want to have some actual buildings, because that is more representative of what a zoo would look like, and it just makes it more interesting, giving it height variations and things like that. So I'm working on the building facade now, and don't get your hopes up because we are not doing an interior. All of the interior of this building, except for maybe like an indoor climbing frame for the orangutans, I'm not doing anything else. I refuse. I do not like interiors, and so they're not fun for me, and I don't want to build one. So the majority of this exhibit building is going to be empty on the inside, and we'll just have to use our imagination for what would be in there. But I'm just creating a little bit of design on the outside of this building. This is 100% just architectural. There is no absolute or no reason or use or anything like that for the stuff that's on the outside of this building. It's just for pretty sake. And I'm relearning that I love those like mud conservation walls. I forget what they call them, but just the texture on them, something about them just fits this exhibit, or this build rather, so well. And this zoo overall, the aesthetic. So I'm remembering that I love those pieces so much. But just trying to combine some different textures, some different heights, and then later on in the build, some different colors, just to make it a little bit interesting. Now, I do end up having to enlarge the inside space. You'll see after we're done with the time lapse, because the orangutans need so much stinking space. And I feel like it's almost like a polar bear kind of situation. Like it's a bit ridiculous how much space they actually need. I am 100% all for giving animals the space that they deserve in captivity. You know, if we're going to keep them from the wild, if they're going to live in captivity, we need to give them the space that they deserve and the space that they need. But it's a little bit big in Planet Zoo. Things are a little bit blown out of proportion, and when it comes to detailing exhibits like that, it's a lot of work, and it's easier to make small exhibits look really good versus big exhibits. So I was really surprised with how much space the orangutans need. Normally for me, it's not an issue, because if you're familiar with the channel, most of the time we do play sandbox mode, and I'm able to make, you know, somewhat realistic exhibits and not have to worry about the animals' in-game needs. However, with this exhibit, I throw a female orangutan in there at one point, and the space is not even really big enough for just her, let alone a mate, and then, you know, hopefully we want to get babies. So it really surprised me how much space the orangutans actually need. But I'm really happy with how this little viewing area is coming together. I was originally anticipating this being outside, but as I'll talk about after the time lapse is over, maybe we'll extend the roof over the top of that area and put another monkey on the other side. I'm thinking something maybe a little bit smaller, maybe capuchins over there. Just something, like I said, a little bit smaller on the other side. But this is kind of going to be like our little monkey area, our little primate area. And I'm really loving that we're kind of getting little sections in this zoo, not necessarily region-based, but, you know, animal-based. And so I really like that. For the majority of the exhibit, I'm kind of just copying a lot of what I did with the Gibbons and the Siamings, because I really wanted it to stay cohesive with the design that we already have. So I am going to use the same kind of moat style, a lot of the same foliage. I make their climbing frame completely out of bamboo. I do actually bring out, and I forget if I cut it from the footage or not, hopefully I didn't, but I bring out a blueprint made by somebody else, which they did a wonderful looking primate climbing structure, but I use that to really mimic the angles and the size and make the climbing structure out of bamboo instead of like the concrete and metal that the blueprint is made out of. That way it just fits our aesthetic a little bit more. And after the time lapse, I don't really see them use it a whole lot, which is kind of a bummer. They climb in the mapingo tree that I end up putting down, which is great. Obviously my favorite tree had to be in there. Looks so good in Mesa Garden Zoo, but I really wanted them to climb on my climbing structures. It says that they can. We checked the traversable area a few times because I'm having such problems with the space requirements, but yeah, they don't end up using it. This is where I bring out this blueprint and realize that this is kind of what I want to take inspiration from. So I'm recreating some of these pieces with bamboo, rotating the bamboo pieces in with circular symmetry and just making them a little bit thicker. That way it's like a nice support beam that I can build off of and do all these other little platforms and climbing ladders and things. Of course, the orangutans don't really use like the intricacy of my climbing structure. They really just go like up and down different portions of it. But, you know, if we were looking at this like an exhibit in real life, they would have plenty of area to swing and climb and sit on and all that kind of stuff. I do think I need to go back and add a little bit more rope. I think making some more little rope detail will really add to the overall exhibit, but that will probably have to wait because as I talk about after the time lapse as well, I just recorded that part, so it's fresh in my brain. But the Arid Animal Pack released earlier this week, and we need to add one of those new animals, you know, to stay new and relevant and exciting here on the channel. We do have to kind of use what just came out because that's what everybody's excited for. However, it works out really well this time because the Arid Animal Pack is basically like a perfect Mesa Gardens Zoo pack. Like, it just, all the animals are going to fit in so well because this is a desert themed, like desert grassland themed zoo. And so I'm so excited. But I can't decide which animal to add next. I just don't know. With 8 animals to choose from, I don't know which one to do. So we have that area over off to the right when guests first enter the park, and we need to put some animals over there just to divert some traffic a little bit. The cranes and the flamingos are getting way too stressed, and it's so annoying. I really disagree with how stressy some of the animals get, and I thought playing on medium hardness would be okay. Like, we're not playing on hard mode, we're playing on medium. Maybe I need to switch it to easy and just not worry about that. But regardless, thinking about moving them to a different location and putting something else there. But over on that side, I also want to implement some of the Arid Animal Pack animals as well. So I need to figure out which one we're going to add first. But back to this habitat, we're working on kind of the back facade here, making it look like this is the area that the keepers come into, making it look like the door is just kind of built into the rocks. I really thought that would add just a little bit more detail to the building and kind of break up the kind of solid pattern that whole wall has on the back. And then of course I'm doing the terrain paint and making it look beautiful in my eyes. And then when we go into the game, the orangutan says, absolutely not. No, thank you. That is not what I want. So we may have to go in and add a little bit more soil, take away some of the grass, just to kind of tweak it just a bit so that they're a little bit happier. Although when we do end the episode, we do have good welfare, you know, in the green. They're happy, and our female orangutan is pregnant already before the end of the episode. So next episode, we will very likely get a baby orangutan, which is super exciting. The orangutan is more of a high value animal, and so guests are hopefully going to flock further back into the zoo to go see them and leave our poor birds up front alone. Now, we definitely don't finish this habitat. I spent way too long detailing some of the climbing frame stuff, which we're actually not done with yet, and it needs some more foliage and it needs just some more detail overall. So we will have to come back and finish it, but as we leave it, it has everything that the orangutans need to be happy. So we don't have to worry about their welfare or anything like that, or protesters coming through. I really like this kind of mud dirt technique that I've been using with the like the little mulch patches. I absolutely love it. So we're sinking in one of the little forage octagon, is it an octagon? Little forage patches so that they can come down and, you know, pick through food and stuff like that and make it look like it's integrated into the dirt with the exhibit, and then just adding some of the same foliage that's in the other exhibit as well, just to make everything look cohesive. Throwing out a few platforms there to make it look like the orangutans would be able to go over there and sit out, you know, close to the guest. Do they use it? No, not really, but they could, so it's there. And then this is the indoor area. Now, I'm laying down some straw on the floor. That's probably the only place that I'm going to decorate when it comes to doing the indoor part. And the rest of it will just have to be blank because like I said, I really don't like interiors, so I'm probably not going to spend my time detailing that out. But we end up making a little door here that looks like a little sliding door. So obviously it can be opened and closed if you want the orangutans on or off exhibit. And I'm really happy with how it came out. It's a custom little door. I haven't used this door in quite a while, and so I'm pretty stoked on how it comes together. And I'm pretty excited that it actually does look like it would be a sliding, like, automatic door that you can open and close. I was originally going to cover the whole thing, and then I realized, wait, hold on, the animals actually have to go in and out. And so I end up fixing that. But yeah, that's our little, like, sliding decorative door. And I'm just loving all the natural, like, wood colors and mixed with this a slight bit of metal and the aesthetic of the desert and the greenery of the foliage. I'm really, really liking all of that. So I'm very excited with how this is coming together. And eventually we will put a roof on it and just ignore the rest of whatever's in this building as we normally do. But I can't wait to get baby orangutans and finish this exhibit and get it all detailed out and finished. I mentioned a little while ago, and I'm going to try not to make a habit of apologizing in every single Mesa Gardens episode, but I've been taking time for me recently just to talk about my life a little bit, taking time for me to refocus on some of my priorities and working on my overall health, getting outside more and just working on some personal things. So YouTube has not taken a back seat, I would say. It's just been kind of deprioritized a little bit in comparison to some other things. I'm really trying to eat better, start running again. I have a knee injury, and so I stopped running a while ago. But it's something that I really love to do. So I'm really trying to ease back into it, nurse my knee so I don't injure myself further, but make sure that I can get outside, be more active, be a little bit healthier. So I'm kind of trying to prioritize that kind of stuff going forward for a while, which is why you may have noticed that streams are not continuing. Unfortunately, I had to make the decision that streams just aren't as beneficial to the channel with my limited schedule and limited time. I don't have the time to put into content that I used to. And if I'm streaming, unfortunately, I really don't get a lot of benefit that I do from just making long form or short form content in the form of videos and shorts. So I did have to make a really difficult decision and decide to cancel those for the time being. I'm not saying that they won't ever come back, but for now, I'm not able to commit once a week. My work week fluctuates so much and my energy levels fluctuate so much that I just needed to not have an additional commitment. I needed to be able to wake up on my weekends, my days off, and sleep in if I want to, or lounge around the house if I want to and stuff. And I know you guys will all understand this community is absolutely incredibly supportive and so friendly, and just I love you guys so much. But the reason that I talk about it is because I know I'm not alone, and I know there are some people out there that struggle with making work-life balance choices, as well as prioritizing and just thinking that, you know, YouTube is this great, grand, wonderful thing, but it's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of hard work. So if I can hopefully help somebody else feel like they're not by themselves, that would be a perfect goal for me, because that's sometimes that's what I need, is just knowing that I'm not alone, and that other people kind of struggle with the same things that I struggle with. So again, I'm not going to make a habit of it, but just to give you a little life update, I kind of like treating these little time lapses as life updates, right? Because we're just kind of chatting and hanging out together while we finish up an enclosure. We're basically almost done with this time lapse, and I'm just adding a couple more little details, some fencing around the outside here, and then we're going to jump back to real time and do a few more, you know, gameplay-y things, and then the episode will be over, and that'll be that. So let's go ahead and jump back to real-time Savannah and see what she has to say. Why do orangutans need so much space? I don't get it. If we take a look, I did add a male into here. I added the female during the time lapse just to make sure I was making it big enough. But look at how much space they have. and we're still like on the low end of their requirements, like just barely meeting what their requirements are. I don't understand. I really don't want to make it too much bigger because it's so unrealistic. So I did, as I'm sure I talked about in the time lapse, have to increase the inside space. But they're about to mate. Are we going to get a baby? Oh, I hope we get a baby. I missed the animation. But did it? Yeah. When? Let's see. July. Okay, so we have a bit of a ways to go. Oh, they're hungry. Oh, yeah. I don't think I put down food. That's probably a good thing to do. Orangutan. Actually, I'm just going to select them from the species here. Bornean orangutan. Beautiful. And let's see if we can give them a food spot. Even though keepers, you know, should bring in food and leave it for them, I just want to give them a specific eating area, which this looks like a good enough spot. Beautiful. Awesome. But I'm so happy with how their exhibit is coming out. If we just take a look here, like this view is just beautiful. And I actually really love the detail of this building behind and just that like deserty aesthetic, right, that we're going for in Mesa Garden Zoo. I'm really happy with it. My thought too is that we can maybe extend this roof over, make this an inside portion, and do another monkey exhibit over here. However, we do have continuing problems with stress up here. So the one big thing I'm going to ask your opinion on is two things. One, should we relocate these birds as non-entrance animals and pick something that's a little bit more confident with guests? Put something else in here that's not going to be as stressy, since this is a really high flow traffic area. And so if that, what animal should we put in there? And two, I wanted to add another animal over here. And since the Arid Animal Pack released earlier this week, I want to add one of those new animals into this, obviously, this desert zoo. So which animal should we add first? Those are my two big questions for you, alongside the normal, like, what should we name some animals? Because we do have some new orangutans, some cranes that don't have any names. I did go through off camera and release a lot of the cranes into the wild. So we only have two. I think it's Olympus and who are you? Himiko. Those are our two. They're our mates, male and female. So those two got to stay. And then I did label one of the babies, not that one, the other baby, with an exclamation point, because they have wonderful genes. So we will keep this baby as an adult male and probably bring in an additional female for him once he grows up, and release everybody else to the wild, things like that. So that being said, let's double check we got some education rewards. Perfect. Oh, I also added some toilets, because I realized right before I started recording that the guest didn't have any toilets. So I added 1, 2, and 3, which we will have to decorate. Keeper cannot reach habitat. Oh, oops. I did not put them in a work zone. I'm so bad at this. I'm so used to just making pretty things that I forget. Okay, so we have entrance bird exhibits, entrance food court, entrance vendors, and food court exhibits. Which one are the food court? These are the food court exhibits. So I'm going to add them to the food court exhibits, because that's, I mean, it's kind of all in the same area. And what I'll probably end up doing is, once we kind of expand over here, I might make these the food court exhibits and make like a monkey area work zone thing when we go over there. But for now, that is good. And now hopefully somebody will take care of them, because I think they're hungry. Yeah, they're definitely hungry. So can we keeper assigned, keeper urgently assigned? Get your butt over there. Go make them some food and feed them before we get some protesters. But yeah, I think that's honestly it. Let's check a couple more things. Oh, no ATMs. And we have some vet research. Who are we researching? I forget. Aha, the Gibbons. Beautiful. You can continue that. No ATMs. We can fix that real quickly here. Money. No, that's merchandise. Finance. ATMs. Let's add just a few around. We can add one there. We can add one here where it makes sense in the food court. Maybe one right over here. We'll just sporadically kind of sprinkle these all over the place. Maybe one, sure, right by that bench is great. And probably one at the entrance, right? Zoos have a few at the entrance just in case you need to bring out some money and prepare to spend things. Oh, good job. You're using the alternate path. But yeah, I think as soon as we add an animal over here, people will go this direction more. And hopefully it will really cut down on the level of stress that this bottleneck seems to get. I thought I made this path big enough. I really did when I was first making it. I think it's like 8 meters or 7 meters or something like that. And I really thought it would be big enough, but I should have just gone like full force and done the 10-meter path. But oh well, I'm not changing it now because that would be an absolute nightmare. But let me know what you think. I'm so excited. Oh, and our female orangutan is expecting offspring. So next episode, we're going to have a baby orangutan as well. What the heck were you doing? Were you having trouble there going up and down? Can we get somebody assigned to this? Because this is gross. Yeah, keep her urgently assigned. Oh, and maybe some training would be good too, huh? Before we end this episode. I think we did. Was it in this episode? I totally forget if we did it in this one or in the previous one. But I'm just going to do a little bit more training on our keepers. I want to make sure that they can keep up with the workload without having to hire too many more. So we'll do that. You have low energy, but for the most part, everybody else is good. And we have 3 assigned to food court exhibit, so that should be good as well. It looks like you're coming back with food right now, which is wonderful. Wow, look at them go all the way up in the tree. Oh my gosh. They sit all the way up there. I don't believe those branches really could hold your weight, but yeah, you're kind of more or less floating, but all right, well, whatever. Come down and get some food because you're hungry. There we go. Awesome. Beautiful. Now you should not be hungry any longer. Oh, you need a little bit more enrichment, huh? I think I added a few things, obviously, but I am not sure what else we can add. What else do we have access to? Oh, we can add a piano. Let's just throw a piano over here. And maybe a ball. Just a couple more things I think is good. Oh, that's where the ice thing is. We'll add that there. That's gonna roll into the water. Probably not the best thing. What if we put it there? Okay, great. Awesome. That should help them. Let's slow things down because I can't even click on them. Beautiful. 82% satisfaction for them. Happy little monkeys. Awesome. I'm so excited about this exhibit. As always, let me know what you think. Answer my questions down in the comment section below to help me with the next episode, which I'm going to get started on right away because I'm so excited to add another animal in the Arid Animal Pack released earlier this week. So that's what we'll be doing. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTuber stuff helps me out. And I greatly do appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk at you in the next video. Bye.